In this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of SQL Server and SQL Server Management Studios. Even though through Visual Studios, we could still access the underlying storage structures that the program uses, it's always useful to have another application that could access it in case something goes wrong or you're trying to see what's going on with the database outside of Visual Studios, because sometimes the program could get corrupted. So go to your Windows search application search text box and type in SQL Server. You should get Microsoft SQL Server Management Studios, and so click it. SQL Server Management Studios will open up. What we get here is a Connect to Server pop-up. We have server type, which basically lists the different types of servers that SQL Server Management Studio could connect to. The database engine, analysis services, which is a different type of database tailored application. Reporting services, which is another different application tailored towards databases, and integration services, which is another database tailored application, which we won't be covering. So what you want to make sure is that database engine is selected. The server name is the name of the computer that has your database on it, and SQL Server Express is the name of the running instance on the computer. And you would have seen the name when you were installing SQL Server and created the instance. Authentication is Windows authentication in our case, but there's more than one type of authentication to connect with. But that's not the point of this lecture. We're just taking a tour of SQL Server Management Studios. Here you can see we have an options. If you click on options, you get the ability to do more, like select the database that it's going to connect to when it connects to the actual database, the network protocol to use, which is the language to communicate with the database, the network packet size, so you can control how big the actual messages sent to the database are from the SQL Server Management Studios application. Because this is just a program to access the underlying database, it's not the database. How long it will be before your connection times out when you're trying a query, and other options like always encrypted or additional parameter configurations. But don't worry about that for now. For now, we're just going to connect to our database and see what we get. So on the left here, we see something called Object Explorer. What Object Explorer is it displays basically the structure of our database. So here we see our databases, and we would have a list of databases if we had any. Here are some folders for system databases, which are basically the databases installed by default in SQL Server, and other stuff that we won't be getting into. If we press New Query, we will be able to run queries against a database if there was one that existed. So this is like the code window for typing in the language databases, which in the case of SQL, in the case of SQL Server, is T-SQL. And then you would put it in here and press execute. Yeah, and that is all for now. We won't be using SQL Server that much in our programming experiences, because Visual Studios provides a library that won't require us to learn T-SQL to interact with the database. However, as you go into more higher level database programming or data-driven applications, web applications, T-SQL becomes more important, because simply running SQL is much faster than using any framework in Visual Studios or C#. So yeah, that is all for now. Till next time.